Now we want to keep the live stage going, and next what we're going to do is we're going to sit down and we're going to have a conversation with the 2024 NADA Dealer of the Year. So please do me a big favor and give her a very big round of applause. I'd like to welcome up Rita Case. Rita, please come on up.
I love this audience.
Right, it's great.
Exciting.
Welcome. Please come on in, have a seat. All right, so first off, welcome to the living room.
Thank you.
I designed everything myself, the furniture, the upholstery.
Okay, where's the cappuccino?
In the red carpet lounge, actually.
Okay.
I don't know if they got cappuccino there, but maybe coffee.
Okay.
I've seen donuts earlier, so that might be helpful.
I pass on those.
Me too. I try to at least. So, of course, we want to get into it. First off, congratulations on Dealer of the Year.
Thank you.
That's always a big accomplishment. And I think one of the things that I like to give you the opportunity to do is talk about some of the accolades. We were having a conversation backstage, and you told me some of the highlights, and I think those are great.
Yeah.
But let's start there. Let's talk about some of the things that you've been able to accomplish, and ultimately, what sets you apart.
Right. Well, you know, the Time Dealer of the Year is an award where they pick one from every single state, and we all come together. So actually, I was selected by the state of Florida to represent Florida last year, and at this convention, and the Time Dealer a magazine, an ally, and the Michigan University chose me. And I believe they chose me because, first of all, I've really dedicated my entire life to the auto industry. I've been a car dealer I've actually ran car dealerships for 48 years. My father is the first Honda dealer in the United States, dealer number one. And I was the first person to sell a Honda car in 1970 when I was in high school because you could not give those things away. So I drove it to school, and for $1,295, I sold it to my friends in high school. But that's how I got the bug in the car business, and I ended up working, taking over my dad's dealership, meeting my husband, Rita Case, who was a car dealer, and a Honda car dealer and motorcycle dealer like myself, in Cleveland, Ohio, and I ended up going. So over those years, I have dedicated my career and myself to proving that a woman could be a successful, respected, contributing car dealer to the industry and to make a real difference to pave the way for women. So last year when I was selected, one of five, in the 55 years of Time Dealer of the Year, I'm only the fifth woman to be selected. My goal way back was to way back in the early 70s was to prove that a woman could be respected and make a contribution in the car industry. I still think we have a ways to go to get women interested in the business, but certainly we know for sure I've proven that we're very capable of doing the job. I think my philanthropic effort has also allowed me to be chosen last year. I've done so many different initiatives to not just support organizations that have already been well-founded, like the American Heart Association, the American Cancer Association, but I've also stepped outside the box and come up with new initiatives that no one else thought of, that I've branded, and I've continued over the years. Like we have for the last 42 years, have the Rita Case bikes for kids. So for 42 years, which is a long time, a lot of you probably even 42 years old here, or you were in grade school from the look of the audience here. But 42 years ago, Rick and I had 16 bicycle stores, moped stores in Ohio. And we saw these kids wishing they had a bicycle. So we said, you know what? Let's ask the community, our neighbors, our community, to bring in bicycles that they no longer need. And we will donate them to the Boys and Girls Clubs, to churches, synagogues, organizations that would have children that would not have a chance to have a bicycle. And we did that for 42 years. We still do it. We just finished our season, and we do it at the holidays. And we've given out well over 150,000 bikes over those 42 years. So the community brings their bicycle to our dealership, and we then distribute it. So all they're doing is dropping it off, and we take care of the rest. So those are some of the things that I believe were the reasons I was chosen last year to be Time Dealer of the Year.
Absolutely, and all great things that set you apart. So first off, I heard the audience holding back their applause. All of those things were applaudable, so please.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask.
Sure.
All right. Who's better at sales, you or your husband?
My husband was the master salesman. Okay, when I met my husband, he was able to get me from beautiful Santa Rosa, California, to No Sun, Akron, Ohio. So that was a sales job, number one. He was a master salesman. And truly, my husband, Rick, was absolutely a marketing genius. He did so many things to help the industry. You probably didn't know this. He wrote the 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty that saved Hyundai's ass back in 1996.
Wow, that's
yep.
awesome.
When Hyundai was on a dive, if you know, any of you from that long ago, but Hyundai was basically leaving the country because they could not sell the car anymore for a lot of reasons. And we had 5 Hyundai dealerships at the time in we actually were the first Hyundai dealer in the United States in 1986, but in 1996 we had 5 of them, and we needed those things to survive. We needed to sell those things. We were leveraged like you wouldn't believe. And so we came up with the idea of writing a warranty of 10-year, 100,000 miles, which back then was only 2024. Everybody knows that. 24 months, 24,000 miles. And in the 90s, that was the average warranty on any car that you bought. So it was really a bold statement to go out there and advertise 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. But that's what it took for people to give Hyundai a chance again, and we see what it did. So my husband was a great salesman. He was a genius at marketing, and I definitely recognize him as being the one that made the company very successful in the volume.
That's
I was
awesome.
kind of like the back room. Parts and service was my deal.
Okay.
I didn't want to compete with him, so I figured, well, he doesn't want to do that, so I might as well be the back room.
That's a great approach. I love it. Now, thanks for answering that. That was my fun question. But one of the things that you did mention that I wanted to get into was maybe some more insight in regards to the gender gap. You kind of mentioned that you made it your personal mission to show that women can be respected and to also dominate in this industry.
Yes.
But you also mentioned that we still have a long way to go.
Yes.
How can we get there?
Oh, gosh. I've really tried very, very hard to bring women into the organization. Obviously, as the owner, I can make that decision. I can show that it can happen. I'm a great example that it does work. But, we basically have 3 challenges that I have studied over all of these years, hiring women and having them not stay. And we have to change a lot of things in the automobile business. I'm talking about the retail automobile dealership structure and process for women to really be attracted in any sort of quantity for the business.
Okay.
First of all, number one is I find that women prefer to know what they're going to get paid. And that's just a characteristic that we have. I'm not trying to stereotype women at all. I'm trying to tell you the facts of what I've learned over the last 48 years of hiring women. And that is they want to know what they're going to get paid. And we're a commission business, from the service advisors to the parts counter to the sales to the F&I manager, desk manager. They're all commission. And women in our business are always in the office where it's salary or it's hourly and it's dependable compensation. That's number one. Okay. Number 2, women in general, again, please, I'm not stereotyping women, I'm saying in general, prefer not to negotiate. I mean, come on, you want to go buy a dishwasher, you go to Sears, you find the dishwasher you want, you tell your husband, that's the one I want, that Kenmore, that model. By the way, honey, I'm going to go look at shoes while you make the deal on the dishwasher. They don't want to be in that atmosphere of negotiating and that all of that stress that comes with that. Where guys, come on, you like her. This is fun. Let's go. It's a blast to negotiate. And number 3 is we all understand in the last 40 years that you need to have a schedule in this business. Bell to bell was the 70s. We don't say bell to bell anymore. It's 9 to 2, 2 to 9, depending on which state you are and what your hours are. But in the car business, when you're on commission, when that customer you've been working for the last 2 weeks finally comes in to pick up that car, and they're supposed to be there at 10:30 because you get off at 2 because you're the maid of honor for your girlfriend's shower, and they show up at 5 minutes to 2. You got to split the deal with someone else. they just want predictable hours is the bottom line. In general, women want predictable hours. They have something else in life to do, whether it's family, friends. They have something else to do. Get their nails done. Guys, after the end of the day, they go down to Joe's bar and it's like a golf game. He said this, I said that. The trade had this many miles, it had that. I gave him this, he got that, he bought this. It's like you repeat the golf game. That's what you do. That's what guys generally do. So again, those three are big hurdles in our industry, in the retail car dealership business, that I believe makes it more difficult for women to make us a career.
Absolutely. And, you know, and I think you hit them all on the head. What I heard you say was it comes down to stability, simplicity, and scheduling, you know, and having that time to, because I think about my wife, for instance, we have a 10-month-old at home. So
yeah.
That's the last of the addition. We have 4 in total. But understanding that, you know, all of the things that you mentioned is kind of exactly right on point, because it is being able to say, if my schedule deems that I have to be here or do these things or give time to my household, I think a lot of times women are multifaceted, and they're not just going out to be the provider, or, you know, some of the things that as men we take on that role of responsibility of saying, well, I'm just going to go to work, you know,
right.
And that be the moment. I went to work, I did my job, and we're okay with that, and that ends. But I think a lot of times when we look at the roles of women, it just doesn't end there. And so having that predictable schedule is important.
And you know, people would say for the longest time, oh, it's 7 days a week. Women don't want to do that. Or it's 9 o'clock at night. Women don't want to do it. We all go to restaurants. We all go to the mall. They're 7 days a week. They're open till 9. But when the 9 o'clock hits, they close the door. They lock the door. They can leave. Or when it's, you know, 2 o'clock and the schedule's over, that other set of waitresses come in, and you don't lose income. With our business as commission only, you lose income if you have to transfer your sale onto someone else. So that's the big difference. It isn't the 7 days a week or the 9 o'clock.
Right.
That isn't it at all.
Yeah, that makes
It's
a lot of sense.
It's the combination.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, you joked about going and looking at shoes, right? Because women don't want to negotiate. They want to point out, and then they want to go look at shoes. And obviously, you've done well. Your fashion is great. Tell us a little bit about your fashion. Do you think that that's one of the things that has helped you stand out and kind of set you apart? I love your hat, by the way.
Well, do you think I stand out? I definitely stand out. There's probably not another person in this convention, which I've been coming to the convention for 48 years, because I came with that long ago. It's always been one of the things I've wanted to do. I want to say, I'm interested in this business. I want to stand out. I want to be heard. I want to be recognized. I want to be relevant. I want to be different. And that takes confidence. But you know how you get confidence? This is what I tell when I talk to university students, when I meet with them and they ask me, how did you do it? How did you dominate in a male-dominated industry? I said, knowledge. If you have knowledge, you will have confidence. You can't have confidence without knowledge. So that's what I did. I spent every waking hour learning the car business. I did it. I do it every day today.
Right.
I have to. Because if someone asks me something, I want to know that I have a current answer, whether it's EVs or whether it's the mandate yesterday that Trump changed, or whether it's China or BYD or you name it, fossil fuels. I want to be able to have an intelligent, well-educated answer. That's how I've been able to dominate as a woman. Otherwise, I'm just looked at as, what's she doing in the room? She's the dealer's daughter. I went from being the DD to the dealer's wife. And let me tell you, that was I had to scratch up with my parents to get relevant. Then I went and married my husband who was a dealer. I had to scratch up again. And I did it just simply by that. I want to be noticed. That's why I wear the hats. Nobody wears a hat. Everybody knows me from a hat. And you know what? It's my secret marketing method. Because when I walk into a restaurant, people look and they go, oh, that's Rita Case, the car dealer in town. And what do they start talking about at the table? Oh gosh, I need a car, and she does this philanthropy, and I really got to get over to that dealership, and she does so much for the community. I become the talk of the table. I love it. So why not? It's free advertising. It's my brand. I've made a brand. I've worn hats since 1980. And I did it because when I married my husband in 1980, he was the dealer, Rita Case. Oh, he married this girl out of California. He keeps bragging, she's a car dealer, she knows everything. I said, I'm going to prove I do. Of course, they didn't, I had to work my way up. I had to make a difference in his business. I had to be relevant. I had to make sure they all made more money because of me. But I started wearing hats because I wanted to be noticed.
Yeah.
And it carries weight.
And little did they know under that hat is all that knowledge that you said that you kind
You're
of
right.
always are looking to acquire. So
I
think
am
that's
every
a
day.
great thing is become the brand, but then also when you become the brand, have the knowledge to support the brand that you're becoming. So
Yes.
I think that's great insight that you gave. One of the things that I wanted to ask, and obviously this is more of a perspective question.
Sure.
Being a woman that's dominating in this industry, what are some highs and or lows that you may or may not have to deal with if you were a man? Is there anything that you can see from your side of the fence? And then also, I'll even make that a two-parter. Are there some advantages that you think that you have that us men just can't have or won't have?
Yeah, well, some of the disadvantages are I have to prove myself listen, I'm older now. I have a pretty good foundation. I'm known in the industry because I've been around for so long, and I've done a lot of things that have caused me to be recognized. So I'm not saying that I have that today as much as I did 20 years ago or 30 years ago or even 10 years ago. But I always had to prove myself in the room. I had to prove myself. You'll always see me sit in the front row, whether it's at the convention, whether it's at the make meeting, whether it's at anything. I come early, I sit in the front row. And I want to let them know I'm there to learn. I'm there to be a part. I'm there to ask questions and to interact. So I think as a woman, I had to really put myself up front and prove that I was willing to do the hard work. I was willing to do that. And I still, as these generations change, I'm still going to have to, because look at how many women are in this convention that are dealers. It's still a minority. So that's one of the things is I do believe that I need to continue. I've never gotten a free pass.
Right.
And so I want to be considered a leader in my business, and I want my associates to believe that I am making a difference and leading the way. And I think that takes a little bit more extra work as a woman in this male-dominated industry. But some of the positive things are, I might be given a little bit of free pass here and there.
Okay.
The door gets open for me.
Right.
And I've enjoyed being a woman in this business and being respected more than anything else. It's been quite a journey and just a very successful ride.
That's great. And then before we wrap up,
Sure.
for any women that are currently in the industry, and one of the things you mentioned earlier is that you've brought in a lot of women in the industry, and the hard part has been getting them to stay. For women that are currently in the industry and maybe on the fence or just having a tough time, any words of advice or any wisdom that you want to impart on them before we get out of here?
Persistence removes resistance. Never take no for an answer. Start early, plan your day, work your plan, and try to find a mentor in the dealership that believes in you as much as you believe in yourself. Become a partner with that person so that they can help you through those split deals, those times when you really need to go because you've got a really important, event. Partner with somebody.
Yeah.
If you can get through that, you're going to get over the hump. It's like that new salesman. I always tell that new salesman, give it 90 days, go through your yearbook, ask everybody in your yearbook to come in, and everybody in your phone, call your mother, her friends, go to the neighbors. Don't just wait, because if you wait, you won't ever make it in this business. And that would be my advice.
I love that. I love that. And I love the call the yearbook, getting in the phone book, all of that thing.
Yeah.
It's like they say, risk or rust. Those are your options. Those are your options. So, Rita, thank you so much for
My
being
pleasure.
here. Thank you for all that you have done in the industry for well over 40 years. I hope that you continue to kind of be
count on
a
it.
beacon and a light and continue to gather that wisdom. And hopefully we can see that gender gap kind of get a little bit more narrow and we see some advancements before we hang it up.
Thank you.
So thank you
My
again. Let's give
pleasure.
her a big round of applause.